All right, good evening. Meteorologist Zach Gilday here. Just wanted to do updates on social media, on the website, just telling you about what we're dealing with in the Knoxville area, Knox County, portions of Blount County. We have a flash flood warning, and it's not your everyday flash flood warning. It's a considerable tag flash flood warning. And what that means is we have observed reports of flooding. So I just wanted to get you up to date online, on the web. And I really have no way of seeing comments from doing it right here. And the reason why I'm doing it here, not at the desk, is because we're going to kind of roll into the 11 o'clock newscast. So if you wait till 11, you'll be able to see that. But I really wanted to get on here online and just tell you kind of what we're dealing with here. With all the rain that we've been seeing the past couple of days, we've been really highlighting the potential for this flooding for a while now. And we've been using the terms weather aware. We've been saying turn around, don't drown. I feel like a broken record, but that's kind of what we're dealing with here with all this rain that is making its way through. So we got the Morristown radar in Hamilton County zooming into Knoxville. So earlier during the evening, well, around 8:39, there was torrential rain that did fall, and we had multiple reports of that flooding. And that's why we hopped on TV during that, kind of recapping what happened earlier during the evening now. So now we're going back in time. Here's 11:25. That is some torrential rainfall and some stronger storms, some gusty winds move through. We can see 8:25 just pouring down rain over downtown Knoxville. And that's why we received all those reports. And if you do have any photos, feel free to send them into our Storm Team 6 weather app and we can display them. Not only helps us, it helps everybody, helps the Weather Service on determining what to do with these watches and warnings. So let's kind of go forward in time. Here's 9:30. So we did see a little break in the action. So you might think, oh, storms are ending. We're at 9:38. Really not a whole lot going on at this point in time. But as we went further in time, we can see now it's got a current time. Now there is some more rain on the doorstep. You can see it though. This is a good thing. The latest couple of scans, rainfall rates seem to be decreasing. And that's good news. So, all right, so Weather Service just canceled a flood advisory. That is a good thing. Let's get those out of here. But again, this is a flood warning, and this is the most dangerous part of the coverage area. And again, I keep saying it's not your everyday flood warning. It is a observed flooding, considerable flooding. So the flood warning kind of has tiers. And I actually made a graphic. If you kind of bear with me, here, right now, here's the flood watch. So we got the flood watch still through 2 o'clock in the morning. Questionable on if they will extend that. I do want to mention this, that flashing polygon, that is a flood advisory for portions of Blount and Sevier County. And that is going to be going through, I believe, let me actually get that information for you. That flood advisory, a lot of advisories were issued, a lot of reports. So when I kind of look for these, I got to search through a lot of data. And again, Sevier County doesn't take much. I was kind of looking at the Sevier County, what it takes to have another flood warning. Only 1.3 inch rainfall rates. And when that storm made its way into the Sevier County area, it was producing around 2.5. So, all right, midnight. Yeah, so that flood advisory goes through midnights with that one. And I do want to highlight specifically what roads are going to be impacted with the flood warning that's going on right now. So this is the one that's in Knox County through 11 o'clock. I just kind of want to read off some areas. Again, this is still in effect for about 31 more minutes. Okay, so we could probably keep it on the radar full. Kind of want to read off these names. So we've got some locations that will experience flash flooding, include Knoxville, Alcoa, Farragut, Louisville, Rockford, Bearden, and Lake Forest. And it does include the following highways: Interstate 75, in Tennessee near mile marker 108 to be specific. Interstate 40 in Tennessee between mile markers 273 and 393. So a wide area on Interstate 40. Additional heavy rain will be moving across areas that have already experienced flooding, including Knoxville. Multiple roads remain flooded and closed in the city. And again, it is a considerable tag for the storm. Okay, so again, there's a flood watch for you right there. Let's see if I can find this graphic I made. Maybe not, but I think there is some hope as we go throughout the overnight when looking at the latest computer models, the computer model trends. This is kind of an ensemble forecast, so you can probably take me full, Matt. Or take me and the graphics full. So we got that yellow shade. Well, that's a chance for the heavy rain. So this is pretty much an ensemble model showing you chances for heavy rain going throughout the next several hours. And you can see Knoxville, chances are not really that high, but the radar might be telling a different story. Pretty much areas south of I-40, that's where we do expect the better chances to have heavy rain. Going through the overnight, here's midnight, kind of shifts even farther south. And as we go past midnight towards the 1, 2 a.m. hour, still kind of holding on to it south of I-40. So they could potentially extend that flood watch even longer throughout the evening. And we've been saying this graphic too, this kind of explaining things. So right now all of East Tennessee has a flood watch. Now what is that? Conditions are favorable for flooding, so be ready. Now as we go, if rainfall causes flooding, a flood warning gets issued. A warning means flooding is imminent or already occurring. Take action. If you live in a floodplain, you should have a plan in place. You really don't want to be there when that rain is falling, and really don't want to be in a car, because most deaths occur from most flooding deaths occur when people are in their vehicles. That is a stat that you might not know about. So I'm still monitoring the National Weather Service chat, trying to see if there are any more reports of flooding. And past hour, really haven't seen any reports. That's why we're not on TV. The reason why we're on the website here is because, well, conditions really don't warrant TV coverage at this point in time. See, if this batch right here, if this heavy rain, now this is probably an area that, if you live in this area, really, I would just, stay inside, don't be in the cars. By South College, here's I-40, Bearden High School right there, Ebenezer, A.L. Lost Elementary, North Shore Elementary, Cactus Cove down by Louisville. That is where some torrential rain is falling. So pretty much the rain is measured by these colors on the map, the red, yellows. That's torrential rainfall. Green, not so much. Blue, well, that's light return, so lighter rain. Okay, and we just got another alert on my phone here. A National Weather Service flood warning is in effect for the area until 1 a.m. Okay, so this flood warning has now been extended through 1 o'clock in the morning. Yep, so there's a radar right there. We can see it, there it is, 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay, and that's because we have a really heavy batch of rain right there. And hopefully that weakens before it gets to downtown Knoxville, because that's where all the reports of flooding were. Okay, so let me turn on the reports of flooding. All right, so we've got a lot. So let's kind of go over these a little bit here. So we got this report, street yard flooding, unknown depth. That was in Blount County, 2 miles northeast to Alcoa. That report was 8:36, so 2 hours ago. So if that area sees any more heavy rain, they could be in trouble. As we go up farther north, up here, this is in Knoxville. Knox County reports of the Henley Street Tunnel flooding. So that is not good. All right, that was at 9:05 for the Henley Street Tunnel. Avoid that at all costs. Even though the rain right now, 10:33, again, we're doing a live update, that rain looks pretty light. There's still some more that could be moving in. You see, if we put this map into motion here, you can see there's more rain on the way down in southwestern sections. Okay. What else do we have? Let me pause this. We got this. We got the Dodge Charger stuck in floodwaters near 275. That was in Knoxville at 8:30 p.m. this evening. And we've got this report at 8:37, Knox County. Knox dispatcher logs note 2 vehicles stuck in water near Western and Middlebrook, with another report of a vehicle stuck near University and Western. So those areas, I would avoid those areas. Pretty much, if you're in the polygon, I would just avoid those areas. Really don't want to be out in this. All right, now that was 8:45 in Knoxville, Knox County. Flooding in parking lot, hindering exit from business. Also report of 5th Avenue flooding. Okay, so now what is being displayed on the map isn't all the reports that we have. We do have other reports. I got to dig through those though. I do want to mention the lightning. So, and I do kind of want to zoom out. So it's not just Knoxville. We do cover other parts of East Tennessee. So this might be a good thing. All right. So what I'm going to do is I have the flood advisories turned off. So pretty much a flood advisory is like a tier below a flood warning. A flood advisory is pretty much minor flooding is occurring. Flood warning, that is big news when you see a flood warning. Here are the flood advisories. Right now, we just have one flood advisory, and here it is. It does include portions of Blount County and Sevier County through midnight now, and here's why that was issued. Let me go back in time 2 hours. You can see, so again, I do want to emphasize this is 9:05 in the past. That is torrential rain. Rainfall rates at this point in time at 9:05 were probably about 2.5 inches per hour. And looking at the flood analysis, it really only takes about 1.3 inches for this section to experience flooding. That's why the Weather Service issued that advisory. Okay, let's go forward in time. Notice how as we went forward in time, the heavy rain signature kind of lifted and kind of became smaller. Okay, so that's good news for the Pigeon Forge area. And then you can see it kind of got moving. So we've been saying slow moving. That was moving at a good rate, and we hope these move fast. Move fast, get out of here, weaken, and just go away. That is what we hope for. That's some heavy rain. So now the heavy rain is moving up into portions of Jefferson County. Okay, so if you live in the Dandridge, Jefferson City, I wouldn't be surprised if a flood advisory got issued for those sections. But there's also a wind report. That was yesterday evening. All right, let's not talk about that. So winds at this point in time, not really too concerned about the gusty winds. Earlier during the evening, I'm sure if you live in Knoxville, those were some gusty winds. Under severe levels though, believe it or not. The winds were not severe. They were strong. So that's why when a severe storm gets issued and that crawl goes up and you see your county, the storms that are coming in are going to be stronger than what happened in Knoxville earlier this evening. Not flooding wise, but wind wise, hail wise. Probably wasn't even much hail at all with that storm. It's not that kind of environment. So that is current time, 10:38. Again, this is a flash flood warning, but it's not your everyday flash flood warning. It's a considerable. So flood warnings go in tiers. You pretty much have a base flood warning, radar indicated, and then you have one higher. After that, you have observed flooding. So even with observed flooding, I would probably want to go on TV and talk about it. Now, the reason why we're not on TV right now is because we haven't had a report of flooding in over an hour. Not to say flooding isn't still happening, because it most likely is, but the rain rates have really dropped off. So again, after the observed, then we get up to the considerable, and that's what we're in. So this warning, and not your everyday flood warning, again, if you live in that polygon, I would not be in the car. Doesn't take much. You might think, oh, my car, I drive a four-wheel drive monster, but here's the fact of the matter. Doesn't take much. 6 inches of water, person, goodbye, swept away. 12 inches of water, that's a foot. So that's really not a lot of water. That will take away a car, SUV. That's why we always say turn around, don't drown. Heavy rain can lead to rapid rises in low-lying areas, rivers. And that's another reason why that went considerable, because those storms were training right over the Tennessee River too. So there's probably some river flooding going on with that too. I'm seeing videos on social media of some roads flooding. We do have megaphone. So here's the deal. I know we're streaming, but let's see if I have the QR code. I guess got some more. Yeah, lightning detection. Yeah, so we're seeing some lightning. So these storms might be strengthening. All right, here's a QR code. So we made it real simple. So there's a website URL, also our weather app. You can submit photos, videos through this. It's a streamlined process. Again, it not only helps us out, it helps out everybody. It helps out the National Weather Service, because pretty much like these reports are what caused the warnings to turn observed. The storm reports are what prompt TV coverage, because if we get reports of flooding, then we know that we got to go on air. So, and we really appreciate, even on a sunny day, feel free to send in photos of cloud formations, and we'll try and show them on the news. But that's that. Here's what we're dealing with, the radar. And things, still seeing some pockets of heavy rain. Okay, so we're on I-40, and we actually have some traffic cameras, so I kind of want to maybe show some of those, just to show you why you really don't want to be out in this heavy rain. So I-40 by Ashley Oaks, Webb School, Cedar Bluff. Let's see what the traffic cameras look like at this time of night. It's probably dark, but if people are driving, you'll be able to see water. And maybe this camera's down. Nope, this camera's up. Let's just see what's going on. All right, so they're driving in really heavy rain. You can see, like, I'm sure this has happened to you. If you're behind a vehicle, that water just splashes right in your face. It's the worst when one of those big rigs is right in front of you, because you just can't see nothing. But yeah, so visibility is way down. I really wouldn't want to be on the roads at this juncture of the overnight. Let's see some more cameras. Here's a little intersection. This is I-140. This is the I-40 at I-75, little interchange here. People are going slow. Yeah, it's not even a bad idea to have your hazards on at this time during this. If you ever get caught in something like this. All right, we got some more cameras here. Here's I-40. It's I-140 south of US 11. Can't see much. Some water on that lens, looks like. Yeah, so what we're going to do here coming up, I know we're on the web. See, we do have a TV headline coming up here in about 2.5 minutes, so it might look kind of weird for the web, but pretty much they're going to pop me up on TV, and I'm going to be like, all right, we got this coming up at 11. And pretty much it's 15 seconds, I believe, and we're going to just talk about what we're going to be seeing on the news tonight. Feel free to stay on this stream at 11, because we are going to be streaming the news at 11 too, with this flash flood warning, and we're going to see what happens with these showers, because as of right now we're seeing some heavy rain along I-40. Okay, so all right, so it's back on me. So we're going to talk about, all right, so we're going to go on the air at 1:30. Pretty much, I do want to loop it. It kind of goes fast. because let me do 30-minute loop. Okay. So now we got the radar looped for 30 minutes. You can see those rainfall rates kind of dropping off. See, my fear why we launched this was because that was heavy, that was heavy, that was heavy. 3 storms producing torrential rain moving right towards Knoxville, but they seem to be dying and hopefully tracking south. And if that happens, then they'll expire this flood warning. But if it doesn't, if this heavy rain goes to downtown Knoxville, there will be some more flooding. So that's why we are doing this. Okay. All right. So again, we're just about to do that TV cut in. It's just 15 seconds, so it might look weird for the web, but it's coming up in 30 seconds. So pretty much, I'm just gonna say we had this flood warning, and we're still weather aware for flooding, and we're going to have more at 11. We're going to time out these storms and show you the very latest and even recap the Cock County flooding. Okay, so 10 seconds, we're going to be on there. We're still weather aware for the flood potential as we go throughout the evening. Flash flood warning still in effect for portions of Knox and Blount County. Considerable flood warning. We'll time out these storms, show you all the latest threats coming up at 11. All right, that was the TV cut in. So now we're just back on social media for a little bit. So we got the 11 o'clock news coming up in 14 minutes. We're still tracking rain. Some heavy showers down into Blount County, just west of Marville. That is some torrential rain, some lightnings too. We actually got the generator on here at the TV station because of the lightning. And these storms have producing some gusty winds. We actually took a power hit earlier. That wasn't good, but all right. So right now the heavy showers are about 10 miles away from downtown Knoxville, and hopefully they fall apart before they get there. Let's kind of take things forward in time. So that's a 30-minute loop. So here's the reason why we began this stream. We've probably been going for about a half hour or so. So here's 10:16. We had heavy rain, more heavy rain, all kind of training right towards Knoxville. So that's not good, especially considering we already had flooding. But let's go forward in time. You can see that cell really weakened. Still some light to moderate rain, but not really heavy. And maybe they're trying to push south. Last night, what these storms did was, pretty much, maybe to explain this better, I can show you this. So here's what's kind of happening in the upper levels. So we have this storm system, low pressure system, this counterclockwise flow. That's kind of why these storms, they don't know which direction they want to go. I mean, in the northern hemisphere, storms usually track west to east. But with this low, with this counterclockwise flow, you got some storms trying to curl up to the northwest, okay? So that's kind of why these storms are stationary. Along with this boundary, this stalled out boundary, there's really, the upper level winds are very weak. So that's why these storms don't know which way they want to go. That's why they're moving very slowly. And there's just so much water vapor too. There's a lot of water vapor in place. I can show you what we're dealing with here, the comfort cast showing you we are in the tropical. We can see a lot of moisture still in place, maybe going down a little bit just because we've seen so much rain. The atmosphere is kind of getting sapped from that moisture, but still seeing a lot of moisture in place here. So we've been showing you, again, it's time 10:48. We're going to be starting the newscast here at 11. And we're kind of going to roll right into the news. So it's kind of cool. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, we're going to go right from this stream right into TV coverage and continue talking about these storms. We're also going to have recaps of the Cock County flooding. And we're also, I actually got the rundown right here. I could probably tell you what we're going to do. Yeah, we're talking about Knoxville impacted roads, Greene County flooding, Cocke County cleaning efforts. Yeah, because if you don't know, Friday night there was some catastrophic flooding in portions of Cocke County, and there were businesses. I believe a restaurant was took some serious damage. Roads were swept away. I saw some photos. We're going to talk more about that, and a lot of weather. A lot more weather we're going to talk about. Hopefully these showers kind of die out, but just so you believe me, it's raining. We got some traffic cameras here, and the rain might be beginning to decrease in intensity and coverage. That's kind of what we've been saying all evening. The further we go into the evening, the less of a widespread flood threat we're going to be seeing. But that Knoxville flood warning, that just never want that. Here's a camera, might be down, but could be down because of all the storms. Maybe took a lightning bolt, but that section right there, torrential rain, Alcoa Highway and Hunt Road, a lot of rain right there. We showed you some of these. Here's I-40, east of I-140. Raindrops on that lens, people probably going slower than normal. Rain has decreased in overall rates, but still probably light to moderate. That's I-40. East, that camera right there. We got some more. We got a lot of traffic cameras, these T-dot cameras. Here's I-40 Cedar Bluff Road. Yeah, see, here's what we're dealing with. You got people pulled over to the side of the road. Hopefully they're doing good. You got a siren, you got flashing lights, probably some kind of emergency going on. All right, so I can't see questions directly because I'm in the studio, but I just got a text message from one of my coworkers who's monitoring things. More questions. People are asking about Cocke County, specifically Del Rio, as well as Tazewell. Yeah, it's a good question. So Cocke County is the area that had a lot of that rain Friday night and saw that catastrophic flooding. So let me show you what's going on right now in portions of Cocke County, specifically Del Rio. Okay, well, right now, looks pretty quiet. All right, here's Del Rio right here. This is the area where that flooding really occurred. Del Rio by Catnip Road, Highway 107. It was that area that sustained that catastrophic flooding Friday night, or actually Saturday morning, is when they had that. So as of right now, flooding not an imminent threat, but let's put this map into motion. So there is rain tracking in that general direction, but you can see the rainfall rates really going down. So there was some heavy rain, which prompted that flood advisory for Blount and Sevier County. That did include Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, but pretty much that rain is out of the area. The heavier stuff moving up into Jefferson County, Dandridge, Jefferson City, about to be seeing some of that heavy rain. Cocke County right here, Greene County right here. These counties have probably seen the most rain in this 2-day stretch. So it doesn't take much to cause any flooding in Cocke County and in Greene County. I think they will see some rain because remember I showed you that upper level or that surface low with that counterclockwise flow. Storms kind of, they don't know which way they want to go. They're almost trying to curl to the northwest. But I think as they do, I think these will likely weaken. Okay, so I just got an update from the National Weather Service. So here's where the National Weather Service chat is saying. Interesting to watch. Smaller cells keep dying as they try to progress east along I-40 in Knox County. Seems like downtown is very worked over. One last tall thunderstorm trying to push up Alcoa Highway into Knox County. Still kind of unsure about how far it makes it through. But it's looking like it's shrinking in heights, and we can kind of get crazy here with the details. what they mean by shrinking in height. Got it. Matt, can you actually repeat that? Okay. Yeah, so pretty much we're going to go for 3 more minutes, and then we're going to take radar, and we're going to go to black, and then we're going to start the 11 o'clock news. So we're not hopping off the air, but it's going to go black for just a little bit before we start the 11 o'clock news. And we got Naomi in here. She's going to read off the headlines. And again, we got a pretty stacked show talking about all the flooding that's going to be coming up in the flooding in Greene County, Cocke County. We're going to go over some flooding rescues in Greene County, Cocke County cleaning efforts, and talk about some Knoxville impacted roads. Okay, so we did go over Cocke County, and I do want to show you here real quick. Stand by. I showed these earlier. I'll probably show these again off the top in the 11. So rainfall totals past 2 days. Pretty much, if you live in an area, just to get your bearings, Knox County, here's Cocke County, Greene County, up into Hawkins, and then up into portions of Hancock County. If you live in the sections that are, yellow, red, you live in a primed area for flooding. Here's Cocke County, Greene County area. That's upwards of half a foot of rain. So if they see any more rain, it could be a serious issue. But good news is, I think that rain seems to be kind of on a downward trend. Again, here's a radar loop just kind of showing you. And I kind of got to build my show here. So maybe just bear with me. So how much time do we have, Matt? All right. So we got about a minute and a half. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in and highlight this flood warning. And this is going to be for the TV coverage. So pretty much what I'm doing now is I'm pretty much like making my first weather. Okay. I do want to loop that and zoom out, highlight this flood advisory. This is for portions of Blount and Sevier County. I do want to capture that. That's good. And then probably go back to full view, capture that. All right. That's kind of what we have to do before the shows. Like if we're showing the radar, we have to make these graphics. They don't make themselves, or at least not yet. They might in the future. But all right, so we're going to show that. I'm going to Yep. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap it up. We're going to get a minute 15 till the show. So we're going to wrap it up. Take this radar full.
This is 6 News Tonight.
Tonight, emergency responders rescued one person who was trapped by flooding in Greene County. We tell you those details. Plus, the Del Rio Volunteer Fire Department is gathering cleaning supplies for flooding victims. What you can do to help. And local and state law enforcement agencies will join others for Operation Southern Slowdown. We tell you what you can expect. Good evening, I'm Naomi Hilmer. To start, we're going to get a check of your forecast. Heavy rain moved into our area once again tonight. Meteorologist Zach Gilday joins us now with what we can expect for the rest of the night. Hey, Zach.
Good evening. Hey, yeah, we've been tracking those storms and they really packed a punch. Downtown Knoxville picked up a lot of rain, probably 2.5, maybe 3 inches for some local spots. And we're still weather aware as we go through the evening for that flood potential and even into early tonight. But I do think the further we go into the evening, the less of a flood threat there will be. But still, here's a map, shows you the flood advisories and the flood watch. So we have a flood watch for pretty much all of East Tennessee through 2 a.m. And that polygon that is flashing is a flood advisory for portions of Blount County and portions of Sevier County. They had a heavy batch of rain pass through. Here are the rainfall totals for the past 2 days. Now, if you live in a spot, now, to get your bearings, Knox County right in the middle, down into portions of Ray, Meigs County, and even looks like McMinn County. But really especially the higher terrain of those Smokies and Cott County up into Greene County, Hawkins County, Hancock counties. The red shades, almost a foot or half a foot of rain in the past 2 days. If they see any more rain, conditions are primed for some more flooding. Hopefully they stay dry, but there is that chance for some rain as we go throughout the overnight. Knoxville 72, winds a little bit gusty with those storms passing through. Now here's the main event, this flash flood warning. This is not your everyday flash flood warning. We've had observed reports of flooding, considerable life-threatening situation in flooding with this polygon, including portions of northern Blount County up into Knox County, including all of downtown Knoxville. This has been extended through 1 o'clock in the morning. And I think the good news is these showers, they seem to be falling apart. And that's what we like to see, and maybe even tracking south of downtown Knoxville. Still, rain is in the forecast, but maybe not as heavy as what we were saying. Maybe they're going to be able to expire that. But as of right now, still have that flood advisory for Blount and Sevier County. Zooming out, dry, mostly dry across the Cumberland Plateau. We're still tracking Cott and Greene County. Right now, the rainfall rates seem to be cooperating, and I really do think that from here on out, the chances for heavy rain will continue to decrease, and that's good. Still kind of holding on to that threat across southern sections, and as we go into Monday afternoon, that's a different story. Maybe some more chances for flooding. We'll time it all out and much more coming up in just a bit.
All right, thank you, Zach. And KPD says the following roads are currently impacted by flash flooding. Dutch Valley Drive at Coaster Road, Central Street at Coram Street and Bruin Road, 600 Bernard Avenue, Baxter Avenue at the railroad tracks, and northbound Henley Street at the tunnel. Crews are actively checking additional areas where flooding has been reported. Please use extreme caution while out on the roads. Also report flooded roads at 865-215-4010. And with that forecast in mind, you should have the Storm Team 6 Knoxville weather app on your phone. Scan the QR code on your screen or visit the Apple App Store or download it from Google Play. Our app puts forecasts and the interactive radar in your pocket and lets you get customized alerts for the places you work and live. And remember, if you take any pictures or videos of weather in your area, you can share them with us by scanning this QR code or by visiting wate.com/reportit. And in Greene County, volunteer firefighters and emergency responders helped rescue one person who was trapped by flooding this morning. According to the Camp Creek Volunteer Fire Department, its crews and the Greenville Emergency and Rescue Squad responded to the intersection of Greystone Road to reports of flooding and possibly being entrapped. The volunteer fire department said one person and 2 dogs were removed from the hazardous flooding and moved to safe grounds. And meanwhile, in Cott County, the Del Rio Volunteer Fire Department is gathering cleaning supplies for flooding victims. Donations needed include totes, cleaning supplies, shovels, trash bags, Gatorade, and more. If you can take items to the Del Rio Fire Department and they can disperse it to those who need it. What they say is not needed is clothes, bedding, or food for people to take home. With more rain expected, the Cocke County Long-Term Recovery Group is trying to organize volunteers to help with cleanup efforts. And one man is injured and another is facing charges after a shooting at a home near Dandridge last night. Deputies arrested 44-year-old Charles Windby, who lived at the home. Windby is charged with aggravated assault and unlawful possession of a weapon by a convicted felon. According to the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, deputies responded to the home around 9:43 p.m. Saturday. At the scene, they found a man suffering from a gunshot wound to the lower abdomen. The victim was taken to UT Medical Center and is in stable condition. And a man is dead and another is behind bars after a shooting in Bell County, Kentucky. Kentucky State Police say they responded to Middlesboro ARH Hospital for a shooting victim at around 5 p.m. Upon arrival, they found Danny Brown Jr. dead from a gunshot wound. KSP says the shooting happened on West Cumberland Avenue near Bell County Cole. The victim's stepfather, Wiley Pittman, has now been arrested on murder charges. He is being held in the Bell County Detention Center. The investigation into what led up to that shooting continues. And we're on your side with a health alert. The Tennessee Department of Health confirming a second case of measles in Middle Tennessee. This comes after an alert issued on Friday about the first measles case of the year confirmed in Nashville. Officials said both people had been exposed to a confirmed measles case outside of the state, and both are reportedly recovering at home. Measles is a highly infectious disease that can easily spread by coughing or sneezing. Anyone who has not been vaccinated against measles need to talk to their primary care provider. And this tick season continues to be one of the worst in Tennessee. Latest numbers from the CDC show there have been 210 emergency room visits due to tick bites since March. That's up 24% since last year. 70 on those have been in June alone. Ticks in Tennessee can cause Lyme disease, spotted fever, and alpha-gal, which causes red meat allergy. Health professionals say you should remove a tick as soon as you see them.
Applying good pressure and pulling upward away from it. Trying to get on the pincers themselves, not on the tick's body, because that can cause it to actually panic, tighten its grip, and make it even more difficult for it to be removed. Additionally, again, more stress, the more it's likely to kind of regurgitate that alpha-gal sugar into the body itself.
And if you notice things like swelling, especially if their area is itchy or painful or an infected wound, it may be time to visit the ER. And starting tonight, paving operations will begin on Broadway in Lenoir City. A quick correction, this will continue until Friday, August 7th, not Friday, July 17th, as we previously reported. From 6 p.m. until 6 a.m., the paving project will extend along Highway 11 from Cemetery Street to the Highway 321 intersection, continuing down Broadway to Industrial Park Drive. Traffic on Broadway will remain open in both directions throughout the project, but drivers should expect delays. And you'll see more of a crackdown on speeding this summer travel season. Starting tomorrow, local and state law enforcement agencies in Tennessee will join others across the Southeast on major highways and other locations for Operation Southern Slowdown. It will run all next week in Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina, so take it slow and watch your speed. And the last day of Fanboy Expo getting underway today at the Knoxville Convention Center. The doors opened at 11 this morning, where people got the chance to meet celebrities you've seen on the big screen or on your TV. Some of this year's celebrity guests include Shia LaBeouf, Linda Hamilton, who was Sarah Connor in Terminator, Alan Tudyk, who played Wash in Firefly, and Laura Prepon, who is Donna on That 70s Show, as well as a Happy Days reunion.
It's the excitement of seeing other people get to see what I take a passion in, what I find interesting. Somebody else may not be able to get to experience those things or be able to get to necessarily do those things in their life. So me being able to do that gets to show other people that this is another thing that's out there. There's something more that you can go do, or something that you may have never thought of being able to do yourself. And it just opens up that extra avenue into something else you may want to go do.
The fun continues with Fanboy Orlando in Florida, which is set to run from August 28th to the 30th. And still to come on 6 News, the ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran breaking down as both sides unleash attacks in a fight to control the Strait of Hormuz. Also, Senator Mitch McConnell breaking the silence about his condition after weeks of mounting speculation on his health.
Tracking heavy rain, flash flood warning for Knoxville still in effect, includes portions of northern Blount County and a lot of Knox County. And this storm has had a history of producing significant flooding, life-threatening situation right here. If you're on that polygon, you don't want to be out on the roads. We'll time out these storms, show you what we can expect the rest of the week. All that coming up.
The past week. Here's ABC's Allison Cossack with the details.
Tonight, U.S. Central Command says American forces are launching more strikes against Iran as the standoff over the Strait of Hormuz escalates. These latest strikes coming just hours after the U.S. says it struck 140 Iranian targets. U.S. officials say the strikes are intended to diminish Iran's ability to target commercial shipping vessels in the strait. Iran retaliating, targeting several of its Gulf neighbors, Jordan, Kuwait, Oman, and Qatar, all saying they intercepted incoming fire. The U.S. and Iran entered negotiations last month based on a memorandum of understanding signed by both countries. But President Trump suggested last week that interim deal was over.
I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore.
But talks were held this weekend in Oman, though U.S. negotiators did not attend. The U.S. had expected Iran to publicly commit to stop attacking ships in the strait following those negotiations. But on Saturday, Iran fired at several ships they say were using unapproved routes and ignored warnings from its navy. And now Iran declaring the strait closed until the end of American intervention in the region. But President Trump telling NBC the critical waterway remains open.
It's open. We bombed the hell out of them last night.
The U.S. Central Command also posting online saying traffic is flowing. Iran's foreign ministry today calling the U.S. strikes unapproved acts of aggression and says the strikes carried out by Iran are lawful because they are in self-defense. Allison Cossack, ABC News, New York.
And Senator Mitch McConnell breaking the silence about his condition after weeks of mounting speculation on his health. The 84-year-old Kentucky Republican revealed that a fall led to his hospitalization. He says he was briefly unconscious around the time he was first taken to the hospital and has undergone a battery of tests to try to determine what led to his fall, and has also been treated for mild pneumonia and has been moved to a rehabilitation where he is now, quote, regaining my strength. However, he says he cannot return to the Senate quite yet. McConnell's statement came on the heels of the unexpected death of his fellow Republican Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina. And an East Tennessee classroom will be featured in a new docu-series for their work. The series is called Murder 101 and is directed by the New Zealander Stacey Lee. She spent an entire school year with an Elizabethton high school teacher who taught students how to investigate unsolved murder cases for nearly a decade. Recently, Alex Campbell and his sociology students investigated the decades-old Redhead murders. The three-part docu-series was filmed throughout the 2024-2025 school year.
We started out 8 years ago just trying to figure out, is there evidence of a serial offender? And of course now, they did say there was. That was a big thing that happened back in 2018. But now that we know there was not just one, there was actually 9 different serial killers in Tennessee in the 80s who killed along the highways.
All 3 episodes of Murder 101 will be available to stream on Amazon Prime starting tomorrow.
Still weather aware as we go throughout this evening and even into the overnight hours Sunday. Heavy rain still in the forecast. We could be seeing some more torrential rain leading to that flooding. Even on your Monday, still not quite out of the woods with that flood potential. As of right now, here is that flood watch. Pretty much all of East Tennessee, dropping off a few counties in Fentress and Cumberland and our southeast Kentucky counties, but still holding on to that watch. And that means that conditions are favorable for flooding through 2 a.m. That might be extended. Difference between a watch and a warning. A watch is what most of us have. That means that conditions are primed for that flooding to occur. It's been so rainy. Even over the past week, even 2 weeks, we've been seeing a lot of rain, just event after event. And if a flood warning gets issued, that means flooding is imminent or occurring. So if that happens, you need to take action, have a plan in place, and you do not want to be out in the roads in this. And we have a flash flood warning. Here it is. It does include all of Knoxville, downtown Knoxville, a lot of Knox County, even into portions of northern Blount County. And that is through 1 a.m. It has been extended. Still tracking some heavy rain, but if you look at Knoxville, we're seeing rainfall rates kind of tapering off. Different story though down south. Here's along I-140 that is seeing some downpours by the Bluegrass Elementary, Fox Hills, Lakemont, Rockford, Eagleton Elementary, even down into Blunt Beach. That is some torrential rain. But I really think at this time of the day, the atmosphere has kind of been worked over. So as you can see, even that section seems to be weakening, but it's trying to curl back up to Knoxville. Once we put the map into motion, these storms don't know where they want to go. We have this low pressure area off to the west. That's why they're trying to curl back up to the northwest, but hopefully it weakens and dies out. A lot of cool air over Knoxville because we had a downpour, a lot of cool outflow with those cells. Also, we are tracking a flood advisory. This does include Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, portions of Blount County, a lot of Sevier County through midnight. Now, that rain was pouring very hard as it came into Sevier County, but it kind of tapered off. We can see those shades of red, oranges quickly went to green. And again, the reds, oranges, that's the heavy rain. Green, not so much. Blue, light rain. So hopefully rain continues to taper off. But as we look down south, we're seeing some more development down into Monroe County, and that could be moving up into Blount County too as well. Still a little ways to go throughout the evening, but we're not yet out of the woods yet. Here's the Knoxville view. Can't see much. It's night. Still seeing some rain, 71 degrees. So a little bit cooler, some rain-cooled air. Dew point probably near that, so hopefully this moisture just goes away. Now here's a computer model. Is doing okay on the initiation. Has those storms in Blount County and Knox County. Let's see what it does. Keep in mind, it's just a model. It has those tapering off, and then it has some heavy showers outside the coverage area on the North Carolina side of things. And if this happens, we could be done at 1, maybe even earlier. But still, though, tries to hook those storms northwestward with that counterclockwise rotation. So we're not yet done with the rain across our southeastern section, especially south of I-40. That's probably the best chance for flooding as we go throughout the overnight hours. Tomorrow, still have rain, 40% chance for scattered showers and storms as we go throughout the day. Monday, temperature is back in the mid-80s. Here's the computer model, shows what we could potentially expect. Rain mainly south of I-40. As we go into the afternoon, though, once the atmosphere destabilizes, still summertime, the sun comes out, the atmosphere gets more primed for storms. Could see some stronger storms that produce heavy rain, and once again, not much atmospheric flow. So these are going to be slow movers, and there will be some more flood potential on Monday. But overnight Monday into Tuesday looks a lot quieter, and I think by Tuesday, most of us are going to be staying dry. I can't wait for a break from this rain. But here's Monday, still holding on to the flood potential for pretty much the whole entire forecast area. That is a low end, but still noteworthy. Even though that low pressure system will continue to sag southward, we're going to be still seeing rain concerns through at least Monday. Tuesday morning, if we clear, there could be some dense fog, a lot of moisture, kind of looking ahead. Wednesday, I think that's dry. By midweek, Tuesday night, Wednesday, Thursday, dry and warmer. We're going up to the upper 80s to near 90. Here's why. We had this low pressure system, those storms trying to kind of backtrack to the northwest just because of that rotation of that low. But as it continues to travel south, rain chances go away. And really, I think by Wednesday, we should be seeing dry weather settling in. Here's that 7-day real quick, showing you Wednesday and Thursday getting warmer. I think those days look dry. That high pressure area that moves in, kind of responsible for that drier weather, Wednesday and Thursday kind of goes away or kind of weakens Friday, Saturday, maybe some more storms. But hopefully by then, the ground won't be as saturated and it can handle that rain.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, just earlier we could hear it coming down over the station.
Yeah, it got pretty loud here.
Absolutely. Well, coming up, the 2026 MLB draft is officially in the books. Find out which Vols heard their names called next in sports.
is sponsored by your Greater Knoxville Honda dealers.
The MLB draft continued today, and while just one Vol, Tegan Kuhn's, heard his name called on day one, day two was filled with a lot more orange. Henry Ford was the second Vol off the board as Tennessee's starting third baseman was drafted in the 6th round by the Seattle Mariners. In his lone season on Rocky Top, Ford hit .293 with 20 home runs and 57 RBIs. Shortly after Ford was drafted, the Phillies selected Tennessee pitcher Bo Rudy in the 7th round. Rudy also spent just one season with the Vols, but became a key arm for Tennessee's bullpen. He appeared in a team-high 13 games during SEC play with a .476 ERA. The third Vol to hear his name called today was Garrett Wright, another Vol who spent just the 2026 season at Tennessee. Wright led the Vols in both batting average and on-base percentage this past year and showed his versatility defensively, starting 30 games in center field, 8 in left, and 10 games at catcher. A few rounds later, Brandon Arvidsson got the call as the Chicago Cubs drafted the Tennessee pitcher in the 12th round. Arvidsson spent the past 2 seasons on Rocky Top, where he played a major role in the Vols' bullpen. Staying on the mound, Evan Blanco was drafted shortly after Arvidsson as the Athletics chose him in the 13th round. Blanco was a weekend starter in his lone season with the Vols, posting a .465 ERA with a 7-4 record. Blanco spent 3 seasons at Virginia before transferring to Tennessee. And after Oak Ridge senior Michael Teasley went undrafted through the first 4 rounds, he announced he's withdrawing his name from the MLB draft and instead will play baseball at Tennessee. Teasley is a 2-time Mr. Baseball Award winner as a pitcher and third baseman with the Wildcats. In a social media post today, Teasley said, quote, "I'm excited to hit the ground running at the University of Tennessee. Go Vols." Staying on the diamond, a couple of former Vol baseball players, Blake Burke and Andrew Fisher, made their return to Knoxville this week as the Smokies hosted the Shuckers. Today's series finale marked the final game for the duo of VFLs in their college town. And it's their team, the Shuckers, who have a 2-0 early lead. Smokies struggling to get anything going. 12 straight batters retired through 4 innings. Meanwhile, Biloxi looking to add to its lead. Burke's on second, but Smokies forced the ground out to first. That'll leave Burke stranded and end the inning. Smokies finally have a couple of base runners. Drew Bowser looking to bring them home, but this one pops up to the infield as the Shuckers get out of the jam. Now, Andrew Fisher quiet today until that swing absolutely mashes one over the right field wall for the solo shot. The VFL gives the Shuckers a 3-0 lead, and they go on to win it 3-1. And finally, over on the pitch, it looked like One Knox's unbeaten road streak was coming to an end, but that goal in the final minute of stoppage time tied things up against Corpus Christi. And then One Knox, winning it on penalty kicks, keeps that streak alive. One Knox continuing to chase history. They've not been beat in 8 road matches. 10 is the league record, but that history will have to wait. One Knox returning home for 2 matches at Covenant Health Park this week. That'll do it for sports. We'll be right back.
Warning will expire at 1 a.m. We'll track it.
Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.
All right, I think we're back on the social stream on YouTube. Still tracking these storms this evening. The newscast has just ended, and still want to kind of stay online just because we're still seeing these showers and storms, you know, really trying to taper off, but not completely. So I'm moving up into Knoxville right now. We can still see that there is some light to moderate showers making their way in. Throughout the past several hours, and I can actually tell you exactly how much rain we've seen, or radar estimates of what we've seen. So here are the 3-hour rainfall totals. So that yellow shade, that's upwards of 2-3 inches in the past 3 hours. Knoxville saw up to 2 inches of rain, and that's more than enough to cause flash flooding issues across the area. So we still got a couple of warnings going on here, or one warning and one advisory still to deal with. Let's go back to the radar. So we've got this flash flood warning, and that is for Knox County, portions of Blount County too, and this goes until 1 a.m. So hopefully they'll expire that before 1 a.m. I most likely think they will, because the rainfall rates are really decreasing, especially in Knoxville, where rain is going down to being light. That blue shade, that's some light rain, and in the green, light to moderate showers across the Tennessee River. And I-40, seeing that too. Zooming into Bearden Elementary, I-40 East, rainfall rates have really tapered off. Earlier during the evening, there was some heavy rain that did go up into Knox County, but as of right now, you know, kind of tapering off, but still noteworthy. Still have this flood warning, and again, it's not your everyday flood warning, it's a considerable flood warning. And I see it going across the bottom of the screen there, but I don't think it's on the air right now, if I'm mistaken. The crawl could be mistaken, but maybe not. So there actually is some heavy rain still falling across the area as we go down into portions of Monroe County. Again, this area is not under a flood warning, but it might become if this rain does not let up. And again, the whole area is primed for this flash flooding. Let's put the map into motion to see what we got going on here. So these showers, again, they're trying to track their way north, but they're kind of entering an environment that's been sapped by all that rain earlier. So I do think these will eventually weaken, and you can see there was lightning in southern Monroe County, and then as it tracked north, lightning kind of went down, and that's good news because we do not want the lightning. Lightning means the storms are strengthening, and lightning means there's a lot of moisture with those. So up in Loudoun County, there is a little downpour by the North City. Zooming in on that by Ford. That's some heavy rain, but it's very small. That footprint of that storm is very small in nature. So that's good news. And we can see it kind of like once it becomes heavy is really dying out again. So these rain showers are really on a downward trend here. I just wanted to hop back on here. I'm still monitoring the National Weather Service chat. Really haven't gotten any reports of flooding since probably around 10. So that's good. Hopefully things continue to stay quiet, but we're still tracking this flood advisory for portions of Blount and Sevier County. Sevierville is seeing some widespread light to moderate rain down into Pigeon Forge, Union Hill, New Era, Northview Elementary, this area. That is under a flood advisory, so minor flooding could be occurring with that section of that storm. As we zoom out, a lot of people wondering about Cock and Greene counties. Rainfall really seems to be cooperating, at least as of right now, for that section. Looks very light, and it looks like it's really not even moving into that region, the Del Rio area that had a lot of heavy rain. Zooming in on Del Rio, probably a little bit of light rain falling, but here's the section that had all that really bad flooding by the Catnip Road area, Highway 107. That was where we had the catastrophic flooding Saturday morning. And as we zoom out, a lot of that seems to be tapering off. Rainfall rates way down in Knox County, same with Blount and Sevier County. A little downpour up there by the radar in Morristown. Now, it's by the radar, so you really can't get a good view of what's going on up there. But let's kind of go backwards in time. So we had some heavy rain, and then as it went north, see, it's right by the radar, so this could be overdone. Could very well be overdone. But it's still raining in Knoxville as of right now, but these rainfall rates are really going down, so probably won't stay on the stream forever. We'll probably hop back on if flood reports start coming in. But as of right now, I think things are cooperating pretty well. Let's look at some traffic cameras and see if we can still see any areas of flooding on I-40. Here's a camera, I-40 at I-75. Still a lot of water on those roads. So still, again, you don't want to be out driving on these roadways because even though rainfall rates might be down, there's still a lot of water on those roads, and that makes travel very treacherous. Let's look at some more cameras. Let's just track up I-40. Here's another camera. I-40 west at Lovell Road. Doesn't look too bad at that section. How about by South College? Maybe a little more water on that road. Yeah, because you can see really like when those cars drive by, there's just a tail of water that's splashing up behind because of the tires. Let's keep going up I-40, traveling east. There's another camera. Yeah, still seeing a lot of heavy rain, or a lot of water on the roads. Rain has thankfully become lighter. Yeah, still water. A lot of people going slow. Let's keep going eastward. Check out these cameras. Yeah, so still got looks like a 18-wheeler kind of got the hazards on the right lane. And people slowly going by. Up to Bearden High School area. People going, but still, yeah, roads have some ponding on them. And, hydroplaning can be a serious factor, especially if you have old tires. There's another camera showing some water behind those vehicles. How about downtown Knoxville? Here's Hall of Fame Drive at Summit Hill. So yeah, the overpasses seem to be doing okay, but we've had a lot of reports of flooding. Let me zoom out. So again, yeah, the rain is thankfully kind of tapering off. All right, so we're still tracking these storms this evening. Yep. All right, so Knoxville, again, north side of Knox, that blue shade, that's some light showers. South Knox, some light to moderate showers. Mount Olive Elementary, Bonnie Katie Elementary. So, you know, this rain is what's preventing the waters from receding. So there still could definitely be some areas of flooding. We had multiple reports from earlier in the evening. Let's kind of check those over again. So again, time now is 11:41, but the reason why we're still doing this is because we still have a considerable flood warning for portions of Knoxville, okay? It does include downtown Knoxville. And again, this was 8:36. We had reports of street and yard flooding. I believe that was the first report that was in Alcoa. And then let's go pan northward. We had a report of Henley Street tunnel flooding. That was 9:05. Then 8:30, Dodge Charger stuck in flood waters near 275. We had reports of flooding on, let me get my phone. Yeah, there was multiple reports. Let me see. Yeah, a YouTube comment, downtown is majorly flooded up North Broadway. That was at 10:29. That's when I saw that. So yeah, still seeing flood concerns, even though rainfall rates are tapering off. Let's zoom out. Any more flood reports in Blount and Sevier County? No. And yeah, and thankfully the rain in this flood advisory seems to be, at least the rainfall rates seem to be going down. Let me turn off storm reports, put the map into motion. Now, what are those showers doing up there in Morristown area? Okay, so there seems to be some heavy rain by the radar up in Morristown. And I know it kind of looks like these are tracking towards Hawkins County and portions of Hancock County. Those areas, they've seen a lot of rain earlier today. This section right here, it's right by the radar, so it's kind of hard to tell exactly what's happening, but looks like there's some heavy rain forming and tracking up towards Hawkins and Hancock County. So if you live in those areas, could be seeing some heavy rain coming towards you. But as of right now, no flooding is occurring up there, or at least no flood warnings. Yeah, so that was good. And hey, Matt, I hear the generator going, Matt. You can probably turn that off at this point because there's really no more wind and there's no more lightning. Yeah, so just at the station, we're just going to turn off the generator just because there's no more wind issues and there's no more lightning. So I heard the motor go off, so that's good. Yeah, so we're still on YouTube tracking these storms, and the rainfall rates seem to be continuing to go down, and the bulk of the even light to maybe moderate rain seems to be outside of where we had reports of that flooding. So that's good news. And we have this flood advisory set to expire at midnight. So I think what we're going to do is, I think we'll go till midnight potentially. And if we get no more reports of flooding, we might have to shut it down. But we'll wait for this flood advisory in Sevier County because there's still some heavier showers passing through. Still monitoring things. So a lot of people are wondering, what about tonight? So what about tonight? So here's what we have going on. We have this flood watch in effect from now through 2 o'clock in the morning, and that flashing polygon, that's a flood advisory. So that's one level under a flood warning. So minor flooding is occurring in that polygon. But flood watch means that conditions are primed for flooding. We've just had so much rain over the past several days, and just all that rain compounded will give us these flood issues. Here, past 2 days, again, shades of yellow, that's over 2 inches. And the areas that you see near the red color, like we had a lot of heavy rain up in Scott, Campbell County, by McCreary, Whitley in southeast Kentucky. Even looks like Claiborne up into Hancock, Hawkins County, those areas had a lot of rain earlier today, and this was Saturday morning. Portions of Cook County, Greene County had upwards of a half a foot of rain. So if those areas see any more rain in the near term, it doesn't take much to have flooding happen. But as of right now, there's a Knoxville camera. Can't see much. In general, all right, here's the latest different model trend or different model run. So this is the newest model run. It shows still holding on to that chance for some heavy rain in that yellow shade right now. And then let's go forward in time. Kind of lingers to midnight. Kind of holds on, eventually tapering off by 2, 1, and then southern sections, chances for the flooding go way down. But still can't quite rule out flooding as we go throughout the overnights. Here are those temperatures and rain chances, taking things hour by hour as we go throughout the overnight. So right now, around a 40% chance for that rain, but dropping down after midnight, still holding on though to that chance heading into daybreak on your Monday morning. This is a ComfortCast graphic showing you that, humidity is really not going anywhere anytime soon. So it is summer, it's going to be humid. So still seeing some heavy rain in Sevierville. Could be seeing some minor flooding in these sections. Nothing really sticking out as a big flooding concern for the Mill Creek, Reagantown, Harrisburg area, up into Wilderness at the Smokies, Sevierville, Dollywood, Splash Country, Union Grove. That area is experiencing some moderate rain, but widespread. And again, even though it's not very heavy, these showers are moving very slow. So if we loop it, let's go back in time, let's go forward in time, moving pretty slow and maybe even trying to strengthen in the intensity of that rain. But no extension of that flood advisory is anything that I'm seeing. Nobody's talking about that, so hopefully that expires at the midnight hour. But we still have that flood warning for Knoxville in effect for another hour and about 11 minutes, 12 minutes. So again, this is a flash flood warning that is considerable, so we know flooding has occurred in this section. And again, that's why we're doing this stream, because flooding has been observed. I'm going to go into the data feed in the Weather Service chat and see if I can get any more reports of flooding. Yes, I really haven't had any chat since around 10:30. So hopefully these continue to weaken and we don't see any big issues as far as the flood potential. And that little downpour by Lenoir City, even though it's kind of tracking right along south of I-40, seems to be weakening, which is good news for us. Still some heavy showers though south across the North Carolina, Tennessee border by Monroe County, east of Tellico Plains. Let's kind of loop that, see what happens. Let me get rid of this and loop that. Yeah, so those will hopefully weaken before they get up to the Blount County region, but still heavy rain with those cells. And it's at this time of day where the storm fuel is going down. So the atmosphere is pretty much sapped, especially in the Knoxville area. You can see those storms tracking north. They're heavy in Blount County. Then once they get up to Knoxville, just because we've had so much rain-cooled air, they really weaken and fall apart. And kind of like that rain shield kind of is trying to stay out of Knox County, kind of staying just on the pretty much where the Tennessee River is, kind of not really going north of that region, but still have this flash flood advisory for Blount and Sevier counties, and that will go for about 10 more minutes, and we'll see if that expires. That will likely expire, and that will be good news for us. We do not want any more of those. Again, flash flood advisory, kind of a tier below a flood warning, so minor flooding likely in a flash flood advisory. In the warning, flooding we know has already happened. We know it could potentially get worse, especially because it's still raining. Even though the rates are a lot less, it's still raining in Knox County and in northern Blount County, that area, right along I-40. So not a good idea to be out traveling at this point in time, because this flood warning is still in effect for about one more about an hour and 9 minutes now. So we're counting down until this flood warning goes away. Hopefully it expires sooner, but we'll be keeping a close eye on things. Now, here's the current flash flood threat. So again, this is just data, radar data, kind of a model. Doesn't really have any big concerns at this point in time. So I think those flood waters are definitely going down. But still, there could definitely be some trouble spots when you go on the roads. It really doesn't take much. I just kind of want to reiterate some things we touched upon earlier. Stay safe during flooding. Always turn around, don't drown. We always preach that, to turn around, don't drown. And really, it doesn't take much, 6 inches for a person to be swept away, and about a foot of water for a car, SUV to be swept away, 18 inches of water for a large vehicle to be swept away, and maybe even less than that if the water is going fast. So that's just one of the graphics we like to show, just to remind you that flooding is the most deadly type of severe weather, and the most deaths occur in vehicles. Believe it or not, might not be something that you've known, but again, general setup. We're tracking low pressure system to our west. Nearly stationary boundary. And that's why these storms are moving so slow. We kind of have this counterclockwise rotation with that low across west central Tennessee. Tracking these storms kind of northeasterly in that general direction, with that boundary, kind of the moisture being pooled up along that boundary. But you can see the general trajectory of this boundary continues to go southward. And that's good, because here's what we can expect over the next several days. Rain chances, will they continue? That is the big question. Well, let's go forward in time. So let's go overnight tonight into Monday. Low pressure area, I wouldn't be surprised if this low kind of tracks in that general direction. I wouldn't be surprised if Monday, if we have some more flooding issues, maybe some more stronger storms. So most likely, or I wouldn't want to say most likely, probably potentially, they could extend that flood watch into Monday afternoon, because it doesn't take much to cause any flooding. The ground is very saturated. Tuesday continues to go south, and then most of the rain looks to be south of us Tuesday. Still holding on to maybe a few showers in south of I-40 on Tuesday afternoon. Beyond that, Wednesday is looking dry. Here are those chances for rain. Monday at 40, we might have to increase that a little bit, kind of looking at the latest, maybe bump that up to 60. And then Monday nights, mainly dry. Tuesday, maybe just a stray shower or storm. Beyond that, Wednesday and Thursday, looking pretty quiet. Some spotty chances by late week, but really the point of doing this stream is to touch upon this flash flood warning. Rainfall rates still seem to be cooperating. Really haven't had any reports of any flooding. We're still going to wait on it a little bit longer, just because it is a considerable flash flood warning. I'm going to check my phone, see if I have any other updates on this storm. But yeah, so areas locations that will experience flash flooding are the Knoxville area, Alcoa, Farragut, Louisville, Rockford, Bearden, Lake Forest, and this includes the following highways: Interstate 75 in Tennessee near mile marker 108, Interstate 40 in Tennessee between mile markers 373 and 393. So those areas, flooding is expected to occur. And this is a life-threatening situation with this flooding. That's why we're still on this stream. Even though the rainfall rates are way down, flooding kind of lingers, for potentially minutes to hours after all that rain falls. So we're still tracking these storms here, waiting to see if this flood advisory for portions of Blount and Sevier County expires at midnight. Hopefully it will. And looking at the Weather Service chat, looks like the overnight shift has arrived. Hopefully they can give me an update here on whether they want to continue this flash flood warning or whether they want to expire it. As of 10:32, which was about an hour and a half ago, they decided to continue to extend it and that's why we're still tracking this. So at the very latest, this will expire at 1 a.m., but this flood advisory will most likely expire at midnight, just a few more minutes. And in the Knoxville area, that is a flash flood warning considerable. And again, that's going through 1 a.m. So most likely flood concerns should be trending down at this point in time, but we still can't rule out some areas of scattered flooding. So I really want to emphasize, I know it's midnight, really want to stay inside, don't encounter those flooded waters. Especially at night, you really can't tell how deep that water is, even during the daytime. But at night especially, it'll just look like a mirror, and you'll have no reference to tell how deep that water is. You really can't see if it's moving fast. Yeah, it doesn't, especially, we did mention the heights of the water, just 6 inches for a person, a foot for a car. If the water is moving quick, probably less than that. Probably doesn't take much more. So flood advisory, about 3 more minutes, and this flash flood warning for portions of Knox County and Blount County, about 1 more hour for that. Let's zoom into Knoxville. So we got the radar paused, so latest scan shows some light showers in North Knoxville, but still raining. In southern Knoxville, more light to moderate, but really no heavy rain is being seen as of right now, and that's good. We don't want to see any more of that heavy rain. Okay, so we're still watching this closely as we go throughout the next several minutes. Probably will end up, unless this, you see, I do want to pan down south and show you some more heavy rain. So the areas where it is raining heavy are Calderwood, Pumpkin Center, Tallahassee. That's some heavier rain, but a lot of that is south of the Monroe County area. But again, remember that low. These are trying to track north to maybe even northwest. But I think the bulk of that will miss our coverage area, and more likely than not, this batch of rain in portions of Monroe County, I think that should probably fizzle out before it gets up to Maryville. Hopefully. But yeah, so Knoxville still have this flood warning. Again, considerable. You probably, if you live in Knoxville, your phone probably went off, probably had that EAS alert. That's because we had reports of life-threatening flooding happening in all throughout Knoxville. But with the rainfall rates we're looking at right now, I think that flood potential is hopefully kind of winding down. But still, the warning is in effect, and we do want to stay on that for a little while longer at least. Again, the airline area, Foxfire, along I-40, again, Knoxville, Lakemore Hills, Bonnie Kate Elementary, those sections right there, those are experiencing flooding. Just a lot of rain fell in a short amount of time. It's about to be midnight, so we'll see if that flood advisory kind of tapers off. So we'll check back at the radar, look at that in just another minute, but we're still weather aware, so we did say through Sunday. Now, it's about to be Monday, it's about to hit midnight, so Sunday night. So let's extend the weather aware a little while longer. Hopefully that flood warning for Knoxville will expire, and then we can stop with all the worries, and hopefully tomorrow the rain stays in check, but potentially not. I can show you a future track computer model. I'll show you what we can be dealing with tomorrow, but still being weather aware. Flood watch is still in effect for pretty much all of East Tennessee through Sunday. Flood advisory, it is midnight currently, so this should be going away. That flood advisory, again, minor flooding, Blount and Sevier County. The area that did prompt this TV coverage and web coverage was the Knoxville area. And here's a look at downtown Knoxville, showing that rain still falling, but not all that heavy. Let's see, put the map into motion. Let's zoom in. See, earlier, just about a half hour ago, that was this area right here, from Middle Settlement Elementary down to Rockford, Eagleton Elementary, Blount Beach. That was producing heavy rain just about a half hour ago, but now it's kind of weakening too, and that's good. And maybe trying to track southward. Hopefully, see, the past half hour, the rain shield of that light to moderate has kind of stayed south of the Tennessee River, and that's good news. So hopefully this flood warning will be able to expire shortly. I'm still monitoring the National Weather Service chat. I got my phone here, see if I get any alerts on it. But the reason why we're not on TV is because we haven't had any reports, but we still had the flood warning, so we still know flood is, well, I want to rephrase that. We haven't had reports recently. Still, we know that flooding is ongoing, because if it wasn't, they would have expired that warning. So clock just hit 11, or midnight. That is in the past. Let's go to present. All right, so here's 12:01. Here's current time. Again, live stream broadcast right here. Again, rain seems to be tapering off in portions of Knox County. And that flood advisory for Blount and Sevier County, that has expired. And that is good news. Still raining, though, in that area. Let me zoom in to Cherokee Hills, Middle Creek, Dollywood Splash Country, Dollywood down to Pigeon Forge, even a little bit farther south, Williamsburg. Some light to moderate showers, not much lightning, a sign that even this activity is on a weakening trend, and that is good news. Still seeing some heavy showers up into Hamlin County, up into eventually Hawkins and Hancock counties. You see, this is right by the radar, so it's kind of hard to get a good idea. We can do a national product. Yeah, so there is a little bit of heavy, locally heavy rain, slowly tracking northward. That could be an issue, but really nothing in the near term, or at least immediately. That could change, though. Let's go to some rain estimates here. So 3-hour accumulation. Yeah, just in the past 3 hours, these sections just had torrential rain. Portions of Knox County, Blount County, Sevier County. It really looks like the most fell on the border of Blount and Sevier, and that's why they did issue that flood advisory. But it's just the city's area of Knoxville. That's why they issued that flash flood warning, which is still in effect. And the Weather Service will probably let that just go until 1 a.m. and just expire, and not expire it prematurely. But let's loop this radar again, kind of showing you rainfall rates. Might be picking up a little bit more in portions of the Rockford area and Blount County, but really staying south of downtown Knoxville. And this might just be pulsing up briefly, and then it might go back down. Let me just zoom in. So rainfall rates probably picked up a little bit more in this section right here. So if you live in this area, you could potentially be seeing some more flooding. So by the Rockford, Airport Plaza, Duncan, Eagletown Middle School, Eagletown Elementary. Got some roads plotted: Hollybrook Road, Glover Road, up into Tarkin Valley Road, McCammon Road, Hall Road, Co-op Road. Those areas could be seeing some areas of flooding. Again, you are in a flood warning. East Hunt Road, by the Lakemont area, Alcoa Highway. So kind of in between Knoxville and Maryville. Could be seeing some of that flooding. Still flash flood warning in effect for that green polygon, and that's why we're still on this stream. We'll probably have it going for a little while longer, just in case we get any more reports. But as of this point in time, I think this rain seems to be kind of winding down. Really haven't heard much other reports about it. I know our web producer is listening. If you have any reports, feel free to give me a text, because I can't monitor comments while I'm doing this in front of the camera, sadly. But we're still tracking. Got a lightning detected 10 miles away, so still some infrequent lightning as we go throughout the overnight hours. But kind of looking ahead in time. Here's a product that I think is pretty good. It kind of shows you chances for heavy rain. Here's midnight, so we still have that chance for some heavy rain in that yellow shade up into even north of I-40, probably not so much, probably more in the Knox County, Blount, Sevier County. That's really the area in the near term that we're eyeing for this heavy rain threat. But as we go towards 1, 2 a.m., that seems to be decreasing, continues to push south, and that's good news for us. And here's a computer model doing okay at the initiation. The computer models have been really struggling with this pattern, just as this subtle flow, a lot of moisture, hasn't been doing well. But let's kind of see what it does as we go for the next several hours. So kind of has the rain lingering, maybe redeveloping, but see, that's questionable. That is definitely questionable if that happens. See, that's daybreak Monday. If that happens, if we have this shower moving back into Knox County at daybreak, that could be a serious issue. But it's just a model, and it's not exactly how things will happen. I think tomorrow the better chances for rain. Here's Monday noon. South of I-40, still holding on to some heavy rain potential, a lot of moisture still in place. Heading into Monday afternoon, atmosphere destabilizes with that sun. Potentially some better chances for rain. Still kind of kept it at 40% though, going throughout the day Monday. Here's 4 o'clock, and as we show you the day planner, again, see now that we're after midnight, what was Monday has now become Tuesday. So that graphic, just throw that out. Here's Monday morning, 8 a.m., different model run. Let's see what it does. Here's a long range model, or a longer range model. Shows 6 o'clock, still shows that potential for some downpours as we go throughout the day Monday into the overnights. Still could see some showers and storm activity, but I really think Monday night into Tuesday morning, that's when rain chances really dwindle, and then looks to be Tuesday afternoon. Again, it says Tuesday, it really means Monday. Still kind of holding on to a flood threat as we go throughout the day Monday. Wednesday morning, could be seeing some of that fog too. Looking ahead, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Tuesday, slight chance. Wednesday, Thursday, looking mainly dry for those days, and that's good because we deserve some quieter weather after all this rain. But I do want to show you the radar. Just take this full again. Yeah, rainfall rate's really tapering off. Still some moderate, isolated moderate showers in northern Blount County, but really no reports, or at least I haven't heard of any major reports. We had a report earlier in the evening of, let me get rid of this, of street and yard flooding in Alcoa, but even that area, rain looks pretty light. I do want to check my phone. Okay, so Dutch Valley Drive at Coster Road, that seems to be flooded. We did get some reports of flooding. I do want to mention these. I do kind of want to read these off. Yeah, Knoxville Police put out these around 10. This is from the Knoxville Police Department. Dutch Valley Drive at Coster Road, flooded. Central Street at Coram Street and Bruin Road experienced flooding, or currently experiencing flooding. 600 Bernard Avenue, Baxter Avenue at railroad tracks, flooding. Northbound Henley Street at the tunnel. And we did talk about that flooding earlier in the evening. So, yeah, so those were some reports. That was around 10. But really, at least in the near term, really haven't had that many reports of flooding, and rainfall rates continue to decrease. So let's kind of reset. Let's zoom out. So we got a cluster of heavy showers and storms by Morristown. That section by Hancock and Hawkins County, they did see a lot of rain earlier during the evening. So let's zoom in, or do want to rephrase that. They saw a lot of rain earlier today. So they don't need any more rain. And they're seeing some downpours going up that direction. Bean Station up into Sneedville in Hancock County. Nothing really imminent as far as the flooding goes as of right now, but and those showers seem to be moving at a decent pace. So maybe not that concerning. Down into Cock in Greene County, we do want to mention this. Cock County experiencing rain, but pretty light and spotty. Greene County looking mainly dry down into Sevier County, rainfall rates are tapering off. You can see the yellow going to green. Portions of Blount County, that's where the heavier showers are. And we can see that rain trying to track its way northward, but as it does, it seems to be kind of really tapering off too. So rain rates area-wide seem to be tapering down, with the exception maybe in this area up by Hancock, maybe Hawkins County, but really no immediate flooding concerns for them. I do want to show you this graphic right here. This is kind of what we look at for flood analysis. Let me just pull it up. Here's flash flood threat. So as of right now, really nothing's jumping out as a big flash flood threat, and that is good news. Okay. So, little shower in Campbell County, and we're kind of holding on to this 20% or 30% chance for rain for northern sections, but really the heavier showers, the really big flood potential should be subjected to along in South I-40. I think that's the case. And the rainfall rates seem to be decreasing even more. And we really haven't had any reports of flooding in the past couple hours. So I really think what we're going to do now, I think we're going to shut it down. I think we're going to come back on if need be. But as of right now, rainfall rates seem to be trending down. And we'll keep the crawl up, and we'll let you know if the flooding potential gets worse as we go throughout the overnight. Thanks for keeping it here with Storm Team 6.